Disney and porno have ruined us, but they do, interestingly enough, have the power to heal us. I'm Phil Jelinek. It's the first time you tuned into this channel. This is a channel helping men connect with their hearts already. They probably have, and really what they need to do is remember and find their balls. A part of that, becoming that man, wanting to be a father if you aren't already, striking out in the world, having kids, creating that relationship. A big component of that, or two components rather, is understanding ourselves as men and understanding women. You could be a woman watching this because you're curious about more of these male, female, masculine, feminine dynamics. So why are these two keys, porno and Disney? Well, here's why. Women have a misguided sense oftentimes of what a relationship should be, of how a guy should behave, of how they should feel, of when a guy should know that it's been 3 dates, I'm already connected to him, he should feel the same way. And basically said differently, as men and women, a lot of times women will think men are like women. They won't sit around and say that and have that conversation, but they do. They'll think, well, yeah, he said no, and then he said no again, and he said no, but yeah, he could change his mind. He might feel differently in a week, a month, a year. It's like, he probably won't. He's capable of that, but he probably won't. So as women can romanticize and have feelings about what they want something to be. It's not really backed up by references or data. Women's language of the universe is emotion and feeling. That is important. Men have that as well, but not in the same order. Women have logic, sure. It's not their dominant language. It's not their dominant truth. Now, why would I say Disney ruined us, but also Disney can heal us? If a guy really knows what that level of emotional intimacy means to a woman, bro, if you're a dude watching this, if you understand what she needs emotionally, and you have different ways to replicate it, but not in a boring way, not in a way where she has to tell you, because then it doesn't count. More on that later. But you can understand what emotional intimacy is to her and navigate that and lead that. I'm sure you've heard that on plenty of other videos of how women want men to lead and how to navigate that, because navigating that in 1950 is very different than navigating it in 1980 or 2025. Super different. The Disney story is a fantasy of not just love, but certainty, because it's told in a way where everything's happily ever after, and what's presupposed oftentimes is the love won't leave. Said differently, gentlemen, that means I'm forever safe and I'm forever loved. If you go over to 50 Shades of Grey, that's a totally different thing. That means it's still very applicable. But Disney is more of the tale of the heart, of that emotional intimacy. But also, if we think that's a reality, if you're dating a woman and they think that's a reality, it's not gonna work. But also, women need some Disney. As a guy watching this, you might even be thinking, yeah, I need a little Disney. I want romance with this. Not the same way women do, probably. And that brings me to the porno. So think about this. Think about this like a yin and a yang. You have women wanting more emotional intimacy, and you have men wanting more physical intimacy. The emotional intimacy, interestingly enough, by the way, gents, unlocks women in the sexual intimacy department. If you're a lady watching this, or if a guy, you might already know it, or you'll know it now. If we get unlocked in the physical intimacy, meaning we're having sex, we become more emotionally connected. They're literally reverse orders. They're not opposites, even though it feels that way or thinks that way. They're actually complementary. When a guy thinks women are supposed to do these things sexually, or also as a guy, we haven't necessarily provided that much value in the relationship. I'm not talking about money. but that we haven't really shown up consistently. We're not really being a good leader in our own life. Her ability to feel safe and connected enough, especially around sex, won't be the same. Ask me how I know? Being in relationships where I've done a great job unlocking women in the emotional intimacy and physical intimacy and made a bunch of mistakes in between. So if you want more sexual intimacy, you want more physical intimacy, paradoxically, it goes back to the Disney thing in an indirect way. If she feels more emotionally safe, your sex life is going to be different. Now, if you get corrupted by porn or ruined by porn and thinking that's the way it really is, which also, if you do that stuff, it's probably not what you really want, or it could be fun, but it's not what's really going to fulfill you on the deepest level. When you have this yin and this yang of the physical intimacy being on point and the emotional intimacy being on point, you have similar values that align, you have a shared vision of the future, things work differently. They work real differently. But you need that deep emotional intimacy, that connectionness, and you need great sex or wild sex. Probably not quite like the porn, or probably not like the fictitious Disney story. So how do you get there? We need to be honest with ourselves first, be vulnerable with ourselves first, and just tell the truth to ourselves. We think it's something with our partner or how we got to show up for our partner or lying to our partner or telling our partner the truth. It starts with us. And if you're a guy watching this, what do you need in the bedroom? And part of that is also, what do you want to give her? Not just in the bedroom, because that's not her first language. Emotional intimacy is going to be her first language that's driving her. Do you know what you really want as a guy? If you know, and I know many guys like this, that you need oral sex, and you're thinking about getting to engage to a woman that doesn't give you that or is not into it or whatever, had a trauma, that's going to cause massive breakdown in your relationship. I've experienced it. I've seen it. Maybe you've experienced it. What do you really want, and what do you really want to give? And the paradox of these kind of dynamics of this, it's not a transaction, it's about giving. The more you give and you focus on that, it's kind of weird. The more stuff generally shows up and comes back around. It's almost like the universe has these laws that operate in some unique way. And what if, as a guy, you found out as you were understanding what made her feel safe, which is what really unlocks women, and then from that place feeling connected? What if, as you understood her, you actually learned that you craved more of that emotional intimacy than you thought? And you had no idea, or you thought it was going to make you weak, or it was going to make you, the things we say, locker room talk, a pussy was going to make you weak, it was going to make you gay. But you actually realized that level of communication, emotional connection, there was a part of you that craved that more than you thought. And whether you're listening to better understand and make sense of women, much more on that later, gents, or you're a woman watching this, what if you've craved the sex more than you thought? And you had someone that could connect with you, had a guy that could connect with you emotionally, that the pain and the hurt from the past, the things that you didn't want to do or you were afraid to do, that like a flower blossoming, you really started to open up. And you realized that maybe your whole life or most of your life, you had experiences where you were like a flower in the wrong environment. And you're in an environment with a different guy where you just flourish. And gentlemen, for women to feel emotionally and sexually safe is the key. So it's interesting, these two extremes, Disney and porno, and a catchy title. A dear friend of mine, Sajiva, is someone who came up with that metaphor. So I had just ran with it and tweaked a little, put my own spin on it. But what if those things that messed us up the most, that caused us a lot of confusion, pain, whatever, were things that we need and could really heal us and connect us on a really deep level? And the secret, the magic sauce, because all that other stuff I said was almost irrelevant if we're not willing to really own our truth. As my friend, my buddy Blake put out a video today about your truth can be kind of pretty black and white. Like, I need this, I don't need this, I'm into this, I'm not into this, whatever it is. To own our truth, to be vulnerable with ourselves, even if it's uncomfortable, it feels gross or makes us feel weak as a guy. And then to better understand women, better understand yourself, to be able to communicate, what do you really need? And as a guy, to have like a sort of come to Jesus or come to the universe moment, whatever you want to call it, where you really realize, like, or really check in with yourself of what am I committed to giving, or what do I want to provide at this stage of life for a woman? Financially is part of that, and there's a lot more other stuff. What do you want to give emotionally? Who do you want to show up as? And if you're the guy who's serious about transforming the relationship or finding a new one, being a father, being a husband, don't wait for another YouTube video. Don't wait for a seminar or a ayahuasca ceremony or a coach training or whatever. Start to embody and become that guy now. Watch how your life changes when you know today, standing in your power, connected to your balls with your heart open, or starting to connect with your balls, starting to find your heart, that you own that guy, your deepest truth of who the fuck you are, and you decide to become the man, become the husband, become the father, even if the baby's or the girl's not here yet. Thanks for tuning in. Phil Jelovic signing off from cold Milwaukee, Wisconsin, back to Medellin in, what do I got? 8 days. Get back to warm South America. Ciao.